With the 2024 season coming to an end, it is time to reevaluate the San Francisco 49ers 2024 draft class. And it is a draft class that played quite a bit. And we really did find out about some of these rookies. And we we found out that we can rely on some of these guys moving forward. So let's take a look and see who stood out the most. And I'm curious to know from you guys which was your favorite rookie. Let me know in the comments below because I think there might be some different answers from everyone. But starting at the top, Dominic Puni logged 1,700 1,700 1,078 snaps this past season. He was a third round draft pick, selected number 87th overall out of Kansas City, 6'5, 320, 23 years old. There was a long portion of the season where Dominic Puni did not give up a sack. He ended the year giving up 3 sacks, registering 35 pressures, which is pretty darn solid. If you ask me, he had one of the highest graded PFF scores by all rookies. So, Dominic Puni, man, he took over the starting right guard position in training camp due to injury, but he never gave it back. I thought Dominic Puni had a great year. I do think he hit a bit of a rookie wall there towards the end, but I think that's to be expected considering when you look at how many snaps he had played dating all the way back to training camp. So I'm really excited about Puni and his continued growth and what he can look like moving forward in the future. He has all the makings of a potential future all-pro offensive lineman. It's one of the things that I identified in preseason. People were like, "Oh, whoa, 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 whoa!" I'm just saying, this is what I see. I can see what I can see, and it's there. So I'm really excited to see what he will look like with one full season under his belt and heading into a full off season of already knowing what the NFL is about. He can really take a huge step moving forward next year. Next on the list, Malik Mustapha, 755 snaps logged. He also won the award given by 49ers players as the best rookie. Malik Mustapha was a missile this year. The fourth round draft pick, selected 125th overall out of Wake Forest. The Demon Deacons, he played like a demon this year. 5'11, 207 pounds, only 22 years old. He was all over the field, 46 tackles, 24 assisted. He really was just he was fantastic. He was targeted 17 times in the passing game, only gave up 7 receptions for 49 yards. Um, it's pretty solid, and he added an interception and 3 PBUs on the year. I think one of the things that we noticed from Malik Mustafa right out the gate is this guy flies 100 miles an hour nonstop, and he hits extremely hard for being 5'11, 207, just completely jacked up. I know you remember those offseason photos, but he had basically jumped Jair Brown as a starter. So it's absolutely he's going to be a starter next year. So right out the gate, the 2 rookies that we have talked about, they are going to be starting next year. That is phenomenal, especially for a 4th round draft pick. I'm really excited about the future of Malik Mustapha. Moving on, Renardo Green. This was a draft crush of mine. This was like a guy that I was posting on this channel. Like, why is no one talking about this guy? Why is he so slept on? He's probably the best press man corner in this draft class. And the San Francisco 49ers took him in the 2nd round at 64 overall. And remember, a lot of people called this one of the biggest reaches in the entire draft. I don't know if you remember, but I remember because I thought he was a great player. And I was like, why are people so down on Renardo Green? I don't understand it. But the 6 foot, 186-pound cornerback out of Florida State proved he's a dog. And he is going to be a starter next year as well. 3 starters for the 49ers right out the gate on this list in this draft class. And man, when you look at what he was able to do He was targeted 70 times, gave up 44 receptions, nearly gave up 500 yards uh, receiving, but only 3 touchdowns, had 1 interception and 9 PBUs. He played really well, man. I think back to the interception that he had against Seattle in Seattle to clinch that game while he was guarding DK Metcalf. So he's been great. So I mean, the 49ers, it's hard to be upset at these picks because Renardo Green will be a starting cornerback next year for the 49ers. And I don't think anyone's upset about that. I'm definitely not. And then we keep it moving. You've got Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver, now the first round draft pick, selected 31st overall out of Florida, 6'1, 192 pounds, 24 years old. This was a highly controversial pick because no one expected. I mean, it was kind of discussed the 49ers could go wide receiver, but no one was expecting Ricky to be the pick. And so, right out the gate, a lot of people trying to position as this was a mistake by Kyle Shanahan to be able to select Ricky Pearsall. It was a reach. How could he? What a mistake. I remember all those conversations. And as it's progressed, now obviously he gets shot in the chest. That changes everything about his rookie year. But even so, in a year where he got shot in the chest right before the start of the season, Ricky Pearsall put up 31 receptions on 44 targets, 400 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And don't forget, there was a stretch that he went where he was playing and didn't do a whole lot. That was week 11, week 12, and week 13, where he didn't get on into the box score. So he has the opportunity to really be a player that takes huge strides next season. So I'm really excited about that. And he logged 455 snaps just this past season. Evan Anderson was a surprise as well. Anderson was an undrafted free agent. He was one of the more sought after undrafted free agents of the San Francisco 49ers this past draft class. He was out of Florida Atlantic, 6'3, 356 pounds, 22 years old. He played pretty darn well. I mean, considering the fact that he got thrown into action as a rookie, played the amount of snaps that he did, and 6 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 quarterback hit, 4 quarterback hurries, 17 total tackles. That's not bad for an undrafted free agent. You got to love that. So he is absolutely a guy who the 49ers hit on as being an interior rotational guy. Um, will he become a star in this league? We'll find out, but he's definitely earned a roster spot for the future. So excited about him. And then we move on to Isaac Gendo. Gendo was a 4th round pick, 130th selection overall out of Louisville, 6'1, 225. He's 24 years old. There's a lot of debate about this guy too. Oh no, another 49ers running back. But in 84 carries, he had 420 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did have 1 fumble, which, it's going to happen. But I thought the biggest thing for me watching Isaac Gendo was his development as he got better. He got better as the year progressed. With every carry, he got better. And it just felt like he kept improving. And to the point where he was our starting running back at a certain point. And I was like, you know what? I don't mind it. He's doing pretty well. And he can really hit the edge on the outside. I really like, he obviously has, phenomenal speed. But he proved to be a pretty tough runner and have pretty solid vision. And so he's a guy that I think could even take bigger strides heading into next season as well. So really like the pick of Isaac Gendo. So, I mean, you go down this list. I mean, you have 4 guaranteed starters. I'm going to say Ricky's going to be a starter this time next year because we don't really know what the future is for Deebo Samuel. So it could be Ricky, Ayuk, Jennings. I'm going to say the 49ers got 4 guaranteed starters a key rotational player in Evan Anderson. Isaac Gendo obviously is going to be behind Christian McCaffrey. And then you also have guys like Jacob Cowing. Now, Jacob Cowing to me feels like there's a lot of potential left there. The fourth round pick, 136 overall out of Arizona, 5'11, 175 pounds, 24 years old. He was only targeted 5 times, had 4 receptions for 80 yards, 0 touchdowns. He strikes me as a guy where we have not even seen like what he's capable of. I think he might be a candidate for one of the most improved players heading into next training camp, just because we know he's talented. And I think the game was moving a little too fast. And we understand how difficult it is to learn Kyle's scheme and run it the way he wants to. And he was also used as a returner. But I do think Cow. I'm not out on Cowing at all, even though he didn't produce in the stat sheet. And you can see it, man. You can see how he moves. You get this guy the ball in space, he's going to make some guys miss. And so I'm not sleeping on Cowing. Just give him another year, and I think he'll be all right. And then we round it out with Tatum Bethune. He was in and out of the lineup. He was injured at times. He didn't play a whole lot this year, but I think he proved to be a guy who could be a special teamer for sure. So I'm curious to see what he grows into. I mean, he was selected 7th round, 152 overall, just 10 picks ahead of where Brock Purdy was selected in his draft class. But the 6'1", 230-pound linebacker, I think, he could be a solid player moving forward. So we'll see what that looks like. But overall, when you look at this draft class, Dominic Puni, Malik Mustapha, Renardo Green, Ricky Pearsall, Evan Anderson, Isaac Gendo, Jacob Cowing, Tatum Bethune, it's pretty darn solid. Pretty darn solid. If I had to give it a grade, I saw some people grading it already. I asked people on Instagram to grade it. I'm going to ask you to grade it as well. Drop that in the comments below. I thought the grades were a little low. I mean, all things considered, especially when you compare it against where the 49ers were drafting, they were at the back end of the draft. And the fact that they've appeared to hit on 3rd-round draft picks, 4th-round draft picks, 2nd-round draft picks, and even for like the first 4 rounds looked fantastic. So I'm going to go A- here. I'm going to go A-. Would you have loved to see a little bit more of Ricky? Of course, but we also understand those circumstances. So, but you can see what Ricky brings to the table as a 1st-round draft pick, and I think he's going to fit in just fine. So I'm high on this class, man. I'm going to give it an A-. Curious to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below, and as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.